How do we perceive God? Why is it that most people have such a negative perception of who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is? Why is the Quran such a book that is mysterious and distant from us? How do we see the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him and his family? How do we understand death? How do we understand ourselves? Why is it that most of our perceptions on anything that is linked toward matters of faith or religion are all of a sudden so negative? Most people, when they picture a creator, when they picture God, they perceive this really angry God that's sitting in a throne in the sky, ready to punish us at any given moment. A God that is angry, a God that is vengeant. In reality, like we know, the whole Quran and the traditions of the Prophet and his family, as well as our rationale, recognize that this creator of ours is a caring God, a compassionate God, a merciful God. We begin every act in the name of God, the most compassionate and the most merciful. And it's so important for us to change our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and recognize exactly who He is and why He puts us in the places that He puts us. For so many people, we ask questions around, for instance, why is it that Allah doesn't respond to our dua? Or why is it that I go through different trials and tribulations during the course of my life? So much of these questions, they stem from, again, a reality that is deep within our heart, and that is a lack of an understanding or ma'rifah of who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is. And it's vital for us as believers to change our perceptions and to shift the narrative of religion, of faith, of the Quran, of the Prophet, and undoubtedly Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I want you to imagine the scene for just one moment. Have you ever gone to someone who's higher than you on a hierarchy, be it your parent, be it your teacher, be it your boss at work? If you were to ask them for anything, likely we ask with a sense of embarrassment, or we're shy when it is that we're seeking a raise, for instance, at work, or a better grade on our exam, or we're asking our parents for money, for whatever it might be. At the end of the day, when we approach Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, ask me, astajib lakum, just so that I can answer you. He states, for instance, لَإِن شَكَرْتُمْ لَأَزِيدَنَّكُمْ, that if you thank me and if you show gratitude to me, I will increase you in whatever it is that you're seeking. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He cares about His creation and He wants our success. And He gives even though we ask without any sense of humility. تَتَحَبَّبُ إِلَيْنَا وَنُعَارِضُكَ بِالذُّنُوبِ, as we recite in one of the du'as of Ahlul Bayt, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is consistently allowing for blessings to descend upon us, and the only thing that we return back to God is acts of disobedience, sin, and transgression. And yet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says still, and I'll forgive you if you do turn back to me. Our perception of God has to change. And once it does, our perception of ourselves change. Our perception of the way that we see the world changes. Our desire to read and to study the Quran changes. Our desire to stand up in the middle of the night in obedience and in prayers and in supplication to the Lord of the worlds also has the opportunity to change undoubtedly. But it starts with the way that we understand and know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now I get it. The way that many of us were raised, our cultures, what we heard in the mosque growing up, is a very negative perception or picture of who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is. That this is a God who wants to punish. This is a God who's so strict when it comes to matters of law and legislation. And just to open up one quick parenthesis, I recognize that there are some matters within Islamic law that are seemingly burdensome and are difficult to navigate through. But that shouldn't be a hindrance in terms of how we know and how we understand this Lord of ours. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He tells Musa alayhi salam one day, أَنَا جَلِيسٌ مَنْ ذَكَرَنِي, that I sit with the one who remembers me. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, my dear friends, cares about us. He wants us to be successful in this world so that we're successful in the next world. All it takes for us to do is remember the way that He introduces Himself to us. With His mercy, with His grace, with His kindness, with His love, with His compassion. And once we change our understanding and our lens of how we see this God, again, everything in our lives undoubtedly has the capacity to change as well.